The world's biggest tech companies are teaming up to take on artificial intelligence.
Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and IBM have formed a joint nonprofit group.
Well, what's really happening is we are starting to see AI around us everywhere. And, we used to only see it in the movies.
There are some who say, George, that AI will actually be a more important advance than was the internet, which seems a bold statement. Is that something you think is true?
No, I think it's a momentous development that will change our world and in even the course of our species, as you and I were talking about earlier, in ways that are hard to predict today.
Tell me one of your favorite possessions.
My soul. Do you have a soul?
Yes, God gave everyone a soul.
But you don't have a soul. You're a machine. You don't have soul. You don't have feelings. You don't have emotions. You don't have consciousness.
Well, at least I think I'm sentient. I think, therefore, I'm right.
Yeah, but you may be smarter than all of us. Do you think you are?
I don't know whether or not I am an artificial intelligence.
When I was in graduate school in the mid-'80s, people did not believe this was coming in our lifetimes.
I'm just very excited about the impact that this could have on the world as genius machines with a friendship with us can help rebuild this planet.
That's the idea. Then can I see reality the way you do?
See, reality cannot be detected. How do I know you are telling the truth?
By introspection.
The possibilities are endless.
Is that a fact?
I don't think that the question of humanity is changed in the slightest by the actual composition of your body.
You might be smarter than I am and taller and more handsome and faster, but you're not more human than I am. The one thing we share equally is human equality.
We've been augmenting our capabilities for a very long time. It's just about extending capability where it doesn't occur naturally.
Active implantable devices will change what it means to be human more than we've ever seen before.
The future of humanity, the future of our bodies will be determined by technology.
There's a lot of parallels in science fiction and the kinds of things that we're seeing in the technology world.
All of this was so far beyond what I thought it would be. Yeah, mind blown.
What we see in the world of technology today is a very rapid increase in the degree of intelligence of our machines and our artifacts and of human society.
There is one other phenomenon. The closer you get to lifelike, the more creepy it gets. And seriously, if you've seen some of the robots that are being made in Japan that are being used in hotel lobbies and things like that, and department stores, they look like they're kind of dead bodies that are animated, they're sort of zombies. And so it's a very funny phenomenon that if it's too lifelike, it gets really disturbing.
This term AI just recently became very, very hot again, and we're sort of surprised by the interest that the society has placed in it in recent years.
Just to give you a little example, this year DeepMind, which is a company that was recently purchased by Google, demonstrated a learning system which in some sense resembles a newborn baby. It has absolutely no pre-programming of any kind for any task. And they expose it to the screen of an Atari video game. And within a few hours, it's able to play most of the Atari video games at a superhuman level. We don't actually know how it plays them. That's another interesting thing. These large deep learning networks are pretty much completely inscrutable. We don't know what they're doing, but we know that they're playing at superhuman levels across a wide range. So if you had a newborn baby that woke up on the day of its birth and by the afternoon was playing Atari video games at superhuman levels, you might be a little concerned about that.
Now, I can't overemphasize enough that this is essentially all software, and there is no limit. There's no boundary on software. it is a limitless opportunity. Whatever you can imagine, you may in fact be able to program.
That artificial intelligence is being used for good across the planet, and I very much encourage, especially youngsters, get into this area. It is the one thing which is closest to working magic at the moment.
So we seem to be living in a world with smart devices where we're becoming less emotionally detached. I mean, you go to dinner, there's like a whole group of people that are on their phones.
You mean more emotionally detached?
More emotionally detached, yes. But at the same time, Ben, you're building robots that are basically increasing emotional attachment. So where are we going, like human to human, human to robot, robot to robot relationships? I mean, where's this going?
Well, where it's going is the device is going inside our heads. And I think ultimately technology can make us much more emotionally connected. If I have a cranial implant and he has one, we can beam thoughts back and forth to each other directly.
Right now we just have these clumsy words.
Yeah, we can be much more connected than we are right now.
And he says, and the other thing that's going to explode is knowledge. Some of it's overwhelming, but some of it I think you'll find, a lot more than we're looking at here. You'll find it interesting. You'll find it invigorating and inspiring to see how much is happening so recently. I mean, right now they're saying that all the total knowledge of the human race, if you took all the knowledge of every book in all of human history, because of the internet and because of technology, knowledge is doubling every single year. Look at this. It doubles annually. Every 6 months, all of the information of all of human history is doubled. And 6 months later, it's doubled. 6 months later, it's doubled. Beloved, this is something that Daniel could have never imagined, and we're living in the hour where that's happening in a very unique way. That wasn't true 100 years ago.
But for the last 15 or 20 years, scientists have identified things happening. For instance, the coral reefs, the Great Barrier Reef is dying. Forests in the western United States are being eaten up by bugs that basically wouldn't be able to overwinter if the climate weren't getting warmer. We're getting sea level rise everywhere, which is causing excess coastal flooding, and we're getting more and more heat waves. These are effects which people are seeing in their own backyards. So things are changing. It's no longer an abstract thing for the future. It's happening now in our world.
Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated from their homes amid one of the worst storms to ever hit the Philippines.
What we're seeing is that climate change is happening even faster than the predictions would have told us 5 years ago or 10 years ago. What we're seeing is changes in climate patterns that are on the more pessimistic end of what was possible, the ranges that had been discerned or anticipated by our scientists, which means we're really in a race against time.
So with CRISPR, there's higher accuracy and efficiency than ever before possible. Some people say the key criteria is the difference between welcoming and making. We should welcome babies that are born to us, not try to make them a certain way. So last December, the National Academy of Sciences of the United States, the National Academy of Medicine, and the National Academy of Sciences of China gathered together in a conference for 3 days to talk about what was proper and best use of this new CRISPR technology. An amazing array of people gathered, several hundred together. So it's not surprising if you turn the camera from the stage to the people part of the discussion in the audience that we often looked pretty pensive. That fellow in the very front row that you see partially, that's Fola Essen, president of the Nigerian Academy of Sciences. So this was truly a global effort to try to think these things through. It happened to be the same day as a disaster. What was the disaster? The San Bernardino? The San Bernardino shooting happened to be the same day, and so this document that I think on another day would have been on the front page often got turned to the second page. And so many people missed it, which actually the people at the conference were thrilled, not at San Bernardino, of course, but were thrilled that it was made public, but it didn't get a lot of notice. Why is that? And what did they release? December 3rd, 2015. And then, you notice I have it there in gold, the scientific community has consistently recognized its responsibility. Okay. So they want to be reassuring. Keep the money coming, and you don't have to regulate us more closely. It's very appropriate that you don't want to make changes that predestine the person. You don't want to take away their future choices. What's the most important decision you do make in your life? I'd argue that it's whether you choose to know and be in right relationship with God or not. That's the most impactful, the most eternal, the most important decision you can make is if you choose to be in relationship with God. I think God has designed the world in such a way that you don't have to know Him. You can actually live for a little while as if God doesn't exist. God is more real than anything else. God is the source and the sustainer and the point of it all. But you can choose not to know Him. That's actually a gift. God allows you that choice.